So today we're going to work on grooming, and Maverick here is going to be our lucky contestant. He's so excited. So when we groom our horses, we groom our horses for a couple of reasons. We groom our horses so they're clean because we want them to look nice. But we also, thank you, Maverick. So we also groom them so that when we put a saddle on them, nothing rubs, so there's no dirt or rubs on them when they put the saddle on. It doesn't hurt them. And we also groom them so that when we're grooming them, we get a really good look at their skin and their body to make sure that nobody's gotten hurt, he doesn't have any boo-boos, or he doesn't have any fungus, anything like that. So it's really good time to know our horse too, because as our horse gets to know us, then they're more comfortable with us and they're more willing to do stuff for us. So that's why we groom our horses. Yes, hello, buddy. So when we groom our horses, we have 4 basic things that we use. The first thing is called a curry comb, and they come in all different shapes and sizes, but they always have some kind of little nub on them. And the purpose of the curry comb is to be able to get out the deep in dirt that's on his skin and under his hair, so that we really get mud and everything that's built up in there out. Then we have what's called a hard brush. The bristles are hard and tough and they're a little bit stiffer. And so that helps us brush away in short strokes. That helps us brush away everything that we just got up with our curry comb. And then we have a soft brush, and we use that to get the stuff off the top layer and make it a little bit shinier, a little bit prettier. And that's also good for using on their faces and on their lower legs, because we don't want to use these harder things down there because they don't have much fat down there, so they don't have much protecting them, and we don't want to hurt them or scratch them. And then of course we have our hoof pick, and lots of hoof picks come with a brush on one side and the pick on the other. Some of them just have a pick, but this is to clean their hoofs with, so they don't have any stones in their hoofs. It's kind of like having a rock in your shoe. It would hurt. And also to make sure that we keep their feet clean and dry. So let's get on to the grooming. I know Maverick's looking forward to it. So we're getting ready to groom Maverick. Now, as most of you know, normally we groom up at the barn and we have our special ties up there, but we wanted to make sure we were in the sunshine, getting our sunshine fix, as well as we wanted to be able to see well. So today we've got Maverick here, and we're going to start with our curry comb. Like I said, the purpose of our curry comb is to really get in there and get the dirt off and get the deep down stuff off, but it also feels good to them. If we do it right, it feels like a massage, and they really like that. So when you use a curry comb, usually they have a handle like this, and we put it on our hand, and then we start on their neck. You can start on their back, their butt, wherever, but usually you try to have a kind of a routine. You start the same place all the time. So we start in their neck, and we go around in circles and push really hard and get that massage in there. See how he's kind of leaning into me? Because it feels really good. He says, thank you very much. See how his nose is moving? Can you see his nose? His nose is twitching because it feels so, look at that. He says, wow, right there must be one of his spots. So you can see how good the curry comb feels to him, right? And he still has his winter coat on that he's trying to get off. So see all that hair that came off? That's all his winter coat trying to come off. So that's what we're doing in the curry comb. We're getting all that big, deep dirt stuff off. So we go all over his body. He says, thank you very much. I wasn't sure about this, but this feels good. And we take another one. And then we got to make sure we get up here, especially when we're grooming to ride. We have to make special attention to where his saddle sits. Look at all that hair coming off that horse. It's springtime in Georgia, that's for certain. So all this hair is eventually going to come off. Of course, there's no way we can get it all off in one shot, but he says it feels good. You can see him. He's trying to nuzzle me with his nose, because when something feels good to horses, they want to share back and they want to try and do it back to their friends. So we use our curry comb all over his body, even under his tummy. We want to make sure we get under his tummy really good, right? All over him, a nice massage. Here right now we have to keep emptying our curry comb out because we keep getting so much stuff out. And then we want to get to his butt. Now, as we all know, we don't stand directly behind a horse, right? So we stand kind of to the side. And when we're grooming a horse, we always keep a hand on him so that he knows where we're at, so there's no surprises when we come up somewhere. So we're gonna, on the top of his butt, he's a tall horse, so it's a big reach. At the top of his butt and all over his butt. And with a curry comb, we can even go down here just a little bit, but we don't want it, we want to avoid doing our curry comb down on his legs, at the bottom of his legs, because he doesn't have much padding here and we don't want to hurt him. So then we do that all over his body. Okay, so we've finished doing our curry comb all over our horse and gotten all that big dirt and the mud and everything off of him with our curry comb. As you can see, we've cleaned him up just a little bit. There's still a lot of hair left, and that curry comb just basically brought all that up to the surface. Now we use our hard bristle brush, our stiff bristle brush, and that's going to brush away everything that we just brought up. And again, we want to do this kind of hard because it feels good to these horses. But when we use our stiff bristle brush, we use it in short little brushes. That helps get everything off. Again, you can see how he's like, wow, this feels really good. See how he already looks cleaner? Yes, thank you. Hello, buddy. So we always, with our brushes, we try and go with the hair. When we had our curry comb, remember we went around in circles. But when we're using our brushes, we always go with the hair in the direction that the hair is going, right? That helps get the stuff off, helps it lay down nice and feels comfortable to our horses. Now, as you can tell, he still has a lot of hair that's coming off, and he'll have that for quite a while until everything sheds out this spring. We also use sometimes on our horses, we use what's called a shedding blade. Don't worry, it doesn't hurt them. It's just basically a stiff, almost like a comb, but it's that we use, and we scrape it along, and it helps really pull off this dead hair, this shedding hair. But we're not going to do that today. So anyway, so we go through and we brush him all over where we use the curry comb, all over his body. Short strokes. We really want to get all that dirt off of him, even under his belly. Now again, see, look, we're going with the hair, so the hair changes direction here. See how it's going this direction here, but it changes direction, so we have to pay attention. So we change direction. See, we even have this little cowlick here. All horses have this little cowlick here. So we want to really change direction with the hair, right? And then we get up on top of his butt because we don't want to miss anything. And notice how either my brush or my hand is always in contact with him. So he knows where I'm at and I don't startle him, right? Now, our stiff bristle brush, it's good. It's easy enough that we can do his legs with it. So, as you can see, our white horse has some of our Georgia clay all over him. They always do. But we can use that down on his legs. So then we come up here and we can use that on his legs and get his legs nice and clean. And there we go. That's our stiff bristle brush. Now you can see, you can already see he looks a lot better, right? Because we brushed off a lot of that hair that we got up. Okay, so now we move on to our next grooming implement, and that's our soft brush. And our soft brush, as you can see, the bristles are a lot softer, they're a lot easier to bend. And this is the one we use to kind of shine it all up, top it all off. And we can also use this on their faces and all those delicate places that we don't want the other brushes or curry comb to use because we don't want to hurt them. So with our soft brush, we do the exact opposite we did with our hard brush. So our hard brush, we made short strokes trying to get all that stuff up and get it off. With our soft brush, we make long strokes. And we really try and we're basically just trying to brush the top layer, the dirt, the extra hair. Hi, sweet boy. The dirt, the extra hair off, right? So we do really long strokes. You can see that kind of just gets off this top, as you can see, look up here, we got some white hair, and now the white hair is gone. So with our soft brush, we just basically are trying to get that layer of dust and hair that was left off. We can use this on their legs because it doesn't hurt. And then of course, when we want to clean their faces, this is the brush we use. See how it's nice and soft and it doesn't hurt. And we just brush off their faces. Got to get under his halter. We want to make sure he's nice and clean and comfortable. So that's what we do with our soft brush. Our soft brush goes all over. See again how I keep one hand on him at all times? And when y'all aren't here and I'm grooming horses by myself, I sing. So they always know where I'm at. It calms them, it calms me. But I'm not going to sing for you because then I'd break your computer. So we're just going to, me talking is enough. So we're just going to give him a nice brush all over. And then once we have him nice and groomed, he'll be ready for us to put our saddle on. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to do his feet. Now some of you are thinking, Miss Heather, what about his mane and his tail? We just use a plain old hairbrush for those. And I figure y'all know how to brush hair, I hope. If you need to be brushing your hair more often, talk to your mom and dad. But we just use a plain old hairbrush and we brush their manes and their tails. And that takes quite a while because when these horses go out and play in the field, they get sweaty, they get caught up in things, and they get lots of stuff in their manes. So that takes quite a while. But that's how we do their manes and tails. We just use a regular old hairbrush. So now we're on to our next thing, their feet. Okay everyone, now we're on to cleaning feet. Now it's really important for your horse's health to make sure that their feet are clean and we get everything out of there. As I said before, we want to make sure there's no rocks stuck up in their feet because that's just like having a rock in your shoe and it hurts. They get bruises, they get owies. So we want to make sure that that's healthy. But it helps keep their feet dry. There's something called thrush, which people get too, but it's an anaerobic bacteria that grows in there when it's really wet. So in the wet, rainy season, it's really hard to keep thrush out of feet, but keeping them clean really helps in that perspective. And when we pick up our horse's feet, again, just like everything else, we talk to them. Maverick's pretty good about picking up his feet, and we thank him for that. So hopefully he's gonna do that just for us now when we go to pick up his feet. So this is our hoof pick, and when we're picking up a horse's feet, we run our hand along their leg. If they're well trained, as my hand gets down here, he's automatically gonna pick his foot up. If not, I give him a little lean with my elbow and a squeeze with my fingers, okay? So you can see how dirty Maverick's foot is from walking in the muddy areas around here, all right? So horses have different places on their feet we need to make sure we clean. So you've got their hoof right here in the sole of their hoof, and then this is called their frog. I don't know why it's called the frog. I don't know if somebody looked at it one time and it looked like a frog stepped on a horse stepped on a frog or something. I don't know. But this is called their frog. And it actually has a purpose. When the horses walk, they step on this frog and it's kind of soft, not really soft, but it's kind of soft, almost like a callus. And it pushes the blood back up their leg. So when they walk, that helps keep the blood moving through their legs. So we want to make sure their frog is healthy, right? So with Maverick's feet, we start and we clean off all the obvious dirt. This hoof pick has a brush on it so we can brush too. And we want to scrape all this stuff off. Now, when we scrape, we want to make sure we scrape really well because you can't, it's kind of like, this is the same material as your fingernail, so it's not hurting them. If it hurts them, that means that there's a problem that we need to address, right? So the frog has these two crevices right next to it, right? So we really get in there and we clean it out. Now, when you have thrush in a horse, sometimes it comes up with this kind of black stuff and sometimes it smells really bad, and that's a sign that you have thrush. Maverick's got a little bit. As you all know, it's been really wet here lately, so we've been, you know, it's hard to keep their feet dry, but it's not too bad. So you can see that I cleaned it all really well. See how I got those grooves? I really dug in there with my hoof pick. So we want to make sure we get that nice and clean, make sure there's no gunk stuck in there, that kind of thing, all right? And this is just part of his foot that can come off. There we go, see? So we're keeping it clean. right? And so then they also have, this is their heel. And for their heel, there's actually usually a crack here. It varies from horse to horse. Some horses have really deep cracks, and some horses don't have deep cracks at all. But this crack here, we want to gently clean it out too, just to make sure. His isn't deep at all, which is good because that helps keep it healthy. But we want to make sure we clean out this crack too, so that his hoof is nice and healthy. So as you can see, as we brush off with our brush, now his foot is nice and clean, and it has a chance to dry out, and he doesn't have any rocks or anything in there to hurt his foot. So then we gently put it down, and again we run our hand along him and we come back to his back end. Now when we're picking up a hoof in the back, again we don't stand directly behind a horse, right? We stand off to the side. So you want to move that way. So what we do is we're going to again run our hand down his leg, give him a little squeeze and a little lean, and he picks his hoof up for us. Now see, I let him pick it up a little higher than I needed because I want him to be comfortable. And then he relaxed it a little bit for me. So I put my leg a little bit behind it, and see, my head's not right in front of his hoof. So if for some reason he gets off balance or he kicks, then he doesn't hit me in the head. But again, we clean off really good between these cracks and these crevices and his little heel crack right there. Clean out all of his hoof right in here. Make sure he's all dry and clean. And that's that. That's how we clean hoofs and how we make sure our horses' feet are healthy.